Now to an important development on a case we've been following closely. The Oklahoma Pardon and Parole Board voted Monday to recommend commuting Julius Jones's death sentence. Jones has spent over half of his life behind bars, convicted of first-degree murder. He's maintained his innocence from the start, claiming he was framed for the murder. The 3-1 vote by the board doesn't mean he'll get to go home. In fact, the board recommended only that Jones's sentence be commuted to life in prison with the possibility of parole. And the board's recommendation is just that, a recommendation. The final decision rests with the Oklahoma governor, Kevin Stitt, who may decide to grant, amend, or deny the board's recommendation. Here to talk about yesterday's ruling is social justice advocate and Reverend Cece Jones-Davis and Julius' sister, Antoinette Jones. Glad to have both of you back.
Thank you for having us.
Antoinette, your brother has spent more than half of his life on death row while maintaining from the beginning that he's innocent. With this ruling, there's even more hope that can not only save your brother's life, but can get him home. Tell us how you felt about the board's decision.
Oh my goodness. Feel like I can breathe a little bit easier. We truly appreciate the Pardon and Parole Board for seeing the human in Julius, seeing the errors. We're so hopeful that the governor will take their consideration. It feels like we can breathe a little bit easier. We appreciate it, but we'll be glad when he can come home.
Cece, Julius's fate is now in the governor's hands. He can follow, amend, or deny the board's recommendation. In a statement released Monday, Governor Stitt said that he, quote, takes his role in the process seriously and will carefully consider the board's recommendation. Are there any indications on which way the governor may go on this?
You know, when this all started, the governor put out a statement that said, you know, he was listening. He would listen to the people, and he would strongly consider the recommendation of his board. And outside of what he said, I don't have anything else to go on. I am hoping, you know, this board, he appointed at least 3, if not 4, of the 5 members. So these are folks that he has vetted, that obviously he trusts, that he put in these positions. And so I am hoping that he will listen to the folks that he gave this kind of influence and power to. At the end of the day, they heard what we've been believing and singing for the last 3 years or more, Jones family much longer, and they decided to recommend this commutation for a very good reason, and we're really grateful. And so we need Governor Stitt to please listen to his board and act accordingly.
Well, Cece, the campaign for Julius doesn't stop at just saving his life by getting him off death row, but the point is to actually get him home by having his sentence commuted to time served. So if the governor chooses to follow the board's recommendation and commute Julius's sentence to life with the possibility of parole, when would Julius be eligible for parole, and do you think it's likely he'll be granted one?
Right. I know that his attorneys are looking into the details of what his eligibility would be. I do not currently know at the moment. We are just focused on the very next step, which is, you know, asking the governor to look at this recommendation and to take this recommendation seriously and to commute Julius's sentence. And so what would come beyond that, I don't know in terms of timing. I don't know. We just need the governor to do the right thing now.
Antoinette, if the governor is watching the show tonight, what would you want him to know that he may not know about your brother or his case?
That is a good question. I would want him to know that my brother was at home the night that Mr. Howell was gunned down. I would want him to know that my brother was pacing back and forth in the kitchen, waiting for my mother to come home, so that he could tell his mom that my older brother and I had eaten most of his birthday cookie. That's something I will never get out of my mind. But I would definitely tell Mr. Stitt, Governor Stitt, that my brother is an innocent man. He was at home that night, and I pray that he listens to the people, because at least I want to say at least 60% of the people in Oklahoma feel like Julius should have a commutation here. I mean, excuse me, feel like his sentence should be commuted. They feel like his sentence should be commuted. That's important. Like Cece said, he said he was listening to the people, and he appointed uh, about three or four members of the Pardon and Parole Board. So I would definitely encourage him to listen to them. They expressed having reasonable doubt, and that means a lot because they seen the human and not the case, not the DOC number.
Speaking of the people, Cece, before Monday's hearing, hundreds of people marched to the courthouse in support of not just Julius, but his entire family. You all waited a few hours before the ruling came down. Talk about the crowd's reaction to this decision that was made. Talk about those who worked so tirelessly, like yourself, to get to this point.
Yeah, well, listen, if it hadn't been for God, we would have made it. And that's what I'll always say. You know, trying to get somebody off death row is one of those impossible things that I believe only God can really help you do. But the folks who have mobilized around this are truly extraordinary human beings. These are folks who saw the last defense that Viola Davis produced, just like I did one night, and decided to lay their lives down and to join the Jones family in the pursuit of justice for Julius Jones. What we saw was incredible. You know, hundreds of people, strangers coming together to pray and to fight and to rally for this young man's life. And we're still here, and we're going to be here until Julius Jones is restored to his community. And so I'm deeply grateful for all that everybody has done. But I just need to say, in all honesty, we could not have done it without the grace of God.
Absolutely. Antoinette, how does it make you feel seeing so many different people from all over the world come to support your brother's freedom? How does Julius feel about all the support?
It's like God's love. Like when they've never met my brother, never heard my brother talk on the phone to him. I mean, it's remarkable. But at the same time, when that vote came in, I had nothing but empathy for the Howe family, and that's because they had to rehash that, relive that, and so that's why I'm fighting so hard, because Mr. Paul Scott Howe did not get justice. And in getting justice for Julius, we are getting justice for the Howe family. And I know they're hurting. And that's why I'm always continuing to pray for them, because it's not easy. It never will be easy. But at the same time, you will not get the closure that you need, because that Julius is an innocent man. So at the end of the day, it's beautiful to see all walks of life coming together to fight for a life.
You know what? You said something so incredibly important there, Antoinette, that getting justice for Julius is getting justice for the victim's family. So important and so critical. Thank you so much. Reverend Cece Jones-Davis, Antoinette Jones, again, thank you for your time tonight. There's some good news for those released from prison during the pandemic. An update on the Biden administration's clemency process next.